Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer, your market analyst for Path of Exile 2. So we have just been hit with our first major patch notes after the holidays, and a lot of things are happening. Prices are moving, stuff that I want you to be careful of, and things to take note of. In this video, we'll cover all of them, but we don't waste any time on this channel. So I'm going to go just jump straight in with the most important thing. There will be no nerfs to any classes at all, and that is why your rarity meta is starting to move up again. A lot of people before the patch felt that it was going to be nerfed quite significantly, but GGG has mentioned they are not going to nerf anything at all, and prices of Azcappa, prices of your other rarity items and Spark Arch mages that play into those themes all are starting to climb upwards again. They had a bit of sell-off. I'll show you the chart in a little bit that we track on the channel as well. Azcappa's moving up. I'll show you the price. Other than that, key ones that you need to know for the currency markets, omens are going down slightly, and that is because Path of Exile 2's developer team, they actually mentioned that they're going to boost the drop rates in rituals for omens by 60% thereabouts, which is very, very significant. So for example, the one that we track, the Omen of Whittling, has actually dropped quite significantly as well. So this is things that you need to take note of. If you're holding on to inventory like this, might not be such a good idea because it's going to be a little bit more common now and then. The next thing, other than that, for the currency market that I want you to take note of is the fragments over here. If you guys are holding on to these fragments as well, note that it's going to be a lot easier for players to farm, because moving forward in future, what you can actually do is you can go into the map and they will show you. Right now, of course, this is like just a couple of hours after the live stream, so nothing is open yet, but there will be like indications on the map showing you where the citadels are. So this is going to make it a lot easier to find, and prices of these fragments will likely come down as well. So if you're holding on to them, you're like investing in them and stuff like that, try to offload them because they're going to be a lot more common as well. You can take the money and keep them and buy them back later when they are a lot cheaper. But these are like the three main things in general for most people to care about. But I want to go in with a detailed list, and I have them over here, and I'll show you the chart of all the prices as well, and something interesting that I'm noticing too. Overall, these are the things that we are seeing so far, and we'll go one by one. So there will be no nerfs, and what they actually talked about is they are very open to starting a new league system that is coming up. Be it in whether 2 months, 1 month, we don't really have clarity, but they do start to talk about it already. For those of you who are newer to Path of Exile, league system is basically like an economy reset. You go into this new, think of it as like a new game-ish kind of thing. But after the league ends, from what I understand, every character likely will be ported back to the same standard that we're playing on right now. So it's not as if it's wasted. It's just going to be a new economy reset, which is what this channel is for. We want to help you. Every league, every economy will be there for you because everything is going to change, right? Meta changes, different things move, and that's what our channel is for. So there are no nerfs. Immediately you see stuff like rarity meta. Rarity is moving up. You have your Azcappas moving up. You will see later on your uniques are also moving up. A lot of things that sold off are starting to do a bit more. If you guys want to play a Spark Archmage, this is possibly the best time to play it. When it's the best, likely when the new league starts, who knows when, likely it won't be as good as it is now because they are quite strong, especially for farming a lot of resources. I see a lot of people buying for me also. Today I actually had like 5 to 10 trades already. Normally the past few days was quite dull. Very little people buying stuff. I think people were afraid their classes will get nerfed. We talked about this. Citadels visible in the fog. Fragments are affected by this. If you have them, make sure you offload them. These are key things. Omens being buffed. These are the immediate thing that you see is prices fall in terms of omens, but in the long run, crafting actually becomes cheaper, right? Because when you get more omens, people can do high-end crafting, quote-unquote high-end crafting, but that makes gear much more easily accessible. Overall, I like the changes. I think this makes just crafting cheaper for everyone, so newer players will be able to get better gear sooner at least, or at least it will flood the market more with supply, rather than just a few couple of people holding the best gear and just mirroring all of them. Other than that, important thing is armor is being buffed. So if you saw our previous video on the channel that we talked about the melee skills, this is in line with them. So when armor is getting buffed, they didn't mention exactly the numbers. We will have future patch notes once they actually fine-tune everything and actually put it out in writing. But melee classes, generally will be more favorable. The whole armor is like right now very unplayable when compared to evasion and energy shield. So likely warriors are the best beneficiaries of this current patch. So huge shout out to them, and that means your +3 melee skills likely is going to sell a lot better as well. I've already sold a couple at 1 divine today. Suddenly a lot of people are buying what we talked about on the previous video on our channel where we talked about stuff that we are actually doing to make money. So that is quite interesting. Other than that, uniques are changing. This is a very interesting one because this is very broad-based. They are saying a lot of low-level uniques are being changed. Some screenshots on the members of our Discord as well. If you are not joining our Discord, feel free to join if you're interested to have a community of people who like to talk about market. Other Discords maybe is like more meta focused, which is fantastic. But ours, we want to focus more on like market talk so that it's a niche that we are actually having, especially on this channel, since we are really market focused. So uniques are broad-based, but we did know that some of them actually have a line that says rarity is being added. One of the biggest problems right now is that the shield from the boss, Tramaster, is actually exclusive to basically shield users, which is very, very few, and mages are the ones that primarily benefit. If you have more uniques that offer rarity, this means that other classes will be able to play into the rarity theme as well. So it's really, really fantastic because right now, mages are overtuned because of this shield. If more of them have the rarity effect, that would be very solid because it evens out. Everyone gets a certain benefit for rarity too. So I think that's nice. We need more information to exactly know what are the key changes, but this is a thing that I'm looking out for, especially since it's an excuse for them to actually go broad-based and touch on a lot of uniques to help buff and make more meta, which means that we need to track a wider variety of stuff. So other than that, another thing that they also mentioned is expedition shops have better rarity. So in our previous video also, we just recently talked about buying some of the expedition shop stuff because we want to get new weapons and stuff. In hindsight, it was a bit of a lucky fix, but our recommendation was true because now the prices of the tokens are slightly moving upwards, and when you have better expedition shop rarity, means for example, your Gwenon, which we recommended to pick up, your Tujen, or however you spell his name, Tujen and Rock, all these characters or these NPCs will start giving you better gear, which means more and more people will start using the shop, and all your expedition tokens are going up in price, they are increasing in value. So it's very nice that our thematics of both that we proposed right before the patch is working out quite well. And we will keep doing this every single patch. Not always we will get 100% hit rate of success. Sometimes it will be a bit more unluckier and others because it doesn't go to favor. But generally, the concepts are quite solid. And of course, last but not least, socket override is happening. So these stuff, for example, if you find anything cheap right now, for example, I picked up this bow yesterday. I was just trying it out. That well, let me just show you. So it has like 90% elemental damage with attacks. This one was super cheap, so like 20 exalted and stuff like that. The thing about elemental damage with attacks is it doesn't factor into the trade sites. So I can easily override this later on with like lightning damage and sell it off at a higher price. Of course, I have my own bow over here, which I'm just like putting in the stash here, which is way better. I'm just trying to see whether this works because this is something that's not touched on elemental damage stuff. So if you guys go onto the trade site and you see anything really, really interesting as well, for example, like cheap ones with additional bow for Deadeye that is maybe a bit unusual, but you buy it, it has bad sockets, you resocket it, you can flip it and sell it. Those are interesting things that I'll be thinking about right now, especially with the whole resocket, because it takes a while for the market to actually realize what is the stuff that's valuable and what is stuff that isn't. So that is a quick tip that I am thinking of. Last but not least, let's talk about the charts. So over here, we have very nicely tracked the chart over now. It has been like a week-ish, I think. And from what we see, the last few days before the patch, this was the patch day today. I actually just updated it today. And each of these dots represent every day before. So you see here, coming up to the patch, the last 3 days, it was actually a very, very bearish market sentiment. You can see it overall in terms of like the inflation index that we track over here. Your inflation was basically horizontal, which means no one was moving. Before the patch, like earlier, slightly earlier on, you can see that it's moving up a lot more. And then just before the patch day, no one dares to buy anything. Everyone's just scared that everything's going to happen. But now, once the patch has happened, you actually see a big U-turn in certain products. So for example, Temporalis, it went from like, this is of course based on a base of 100 back on the 7th of Jan, and then you can see, so it's comparable across, because some items are a lot more expensive. We want to just see percentage changes in this chart. And of course, if you're finding value in this video so far, do like, comment, and subscribe. It's a lot of effort to put all of these together for you guys. And if you want to know more of such information, we'll do it on the channel too. So have your notifications turned on. Temporalis went down. People were selling off like just the day before. Yesterday was super cheap because everyone thought that it's going to get nerfed. There's going to be hit with a nerf wave and stuff. But in hindsight 2020, right now it's starting to move up, and it has moved up very, very strongly. It rebounded even higher than what it left off like 3 days ago, and it's now quite expensive to pick up a Temporalis as well. Astromantis, interestingly, is just very, very neutral. Didn't really move much at all. Pretty decent hedge overall to the problems. I guess it's because Astromantis is mainly played with Gambling Legionnaires who don't get too much of the limelight right now in terms of the nerf fear. Escapers also, you can see a slight churn or slight turn in so-called Escaper. They did come down over the past few days because they are a currency after all, so they are much more readily accessible compared to like a boss drop like Temporalis. But now you can see it's a significant U-turn even for a currency like Escaper. So the price is moving upwards as well because of the whole rarity matter. Interestingly, the biggest losers so far is Distilled Isolation. There is no real reason for this, I think, for them to come down, other than maybe for the fact that it's in surplus right now. You don't really have too much use for isolation since you can't crunch them down into like greed, paranoia, guilt, and all that stuff, so you can use it to juice up your waystones. So I think that Distilled Isolation is more of a supply issue. So gradually we can see it coming down. I don't think it's really affected by today's patch, but it's just some things that is happening. Omens, of course, over here you can see this chart over here. You have by Omens of Whittling, this green line that is like coming down. So Omen of Whittling is very, very massively affected right now because of the Omen buff. It was previously moving quite nicely. It was relatively like horizontal around here, quite steady, and then it started to come down because of the 60% change. So very, very obvious changes as well. And last but not least, the item that is affected recently is Dream Fragments. This is technically, people were selling it off as it was going into the meta, but now I noticed that Dream Fragments is kind of holding steady well, hasn't moved up much yet. I'm not too sure why actually. It should technically move together with Temporalis as well as Escaper, but I do think that maybe it's because of the liquidity. Maybe now is Asian hours, so very little people are currently playing online as well. We might see a bit more movement, especially once EU opens and you have your, for example, US opens and stuff, where players start to come in on Monday and digest the patch notes, or once the full list of patch notes is officially out. But yeah, that's just a quick summary of my overall thoughts as well, or summary of the patch notes. If you guys like this content, like, subscribe for more such future content, and check out these two other videos that we have talking about trading strategies and some stuff to actually invest in to make some money in Path of Exile 2. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye now.